Hey guys, so it is currently June 13th, no, Tuesday. It's like 10:28 p.m. at night. It's Tuesday, June 13th, and it's 18 days until July 1st, which will be the first day of Camp NaNoWrimo July session. And I am in the process of plotting out my novel. The title of my novel is Future Marches In, and I have a really good feeling about this particular project because my writing process always sort of starts with the title. I know that's weird for some people. Some people like to title their work, afterwards, after they have the finished results. But for me, it always starts with the title because the title always lets me know what the subject, like what the main subject matter of the book is going to be. A lot of times when I get story ideas, I get a lot of like plot ideas. I get the characters come to me first really strongly, and I have these different visions of who they are, and as time goes by and I get more information, they kind of become more real and more fleshed out, and I start to understand their personalities and their characteristics a lot more. And then after they come to me as characters, I kind of start to see the plot and what's going on with them and what this particular story is going to be. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer for the plot to really come into fruition because I start to see these characters in so many different situations that it takes some time to figure out what the main plot point or plot points of the novel will be. And with this particular story, I've gotten so much information about these characters and full-on background information on these characters over the past, I would say, month or two, but I still wasn't 100% sure what the story, the main story, what was really going on. I had some ideas, I had some themes, and then the title came to me, and the title actually is inspired by a Hillsong song, and Hillsong United is my favorite band. They're a Christian rock band, and they just came out with their newest album a couple days ago, and one of the songs is titled Future Marches In, I believe. And when I heard the song, I felt so inspired, and I fell in love with the title. And the title of the song, something just clicked in my mind, and I was like, that's the title for my novel. And I immediately and instantly knew what the novel was going to be about and the major plot points. And it's going to be about time. And both of my protagonists, the story takes place the summer after senior year, so they're, getting ready for the future. A huge major event has just ended. 12 years of schooling has just been wrapped up. So it's all about the future. And a lot of times when you're 17, 18 years old and you just graduated high school, the future becomes such a huge, real thing. And, people start to ask you, what are your plans, if you're going to college, if you're not going to college, and the future just seems like this huge, looming, almost intimidating thing that's just stretching out before you. There seems to be so much expectation, and yet so much in you knows that there's a lot of possibility, and the future just seems so unknown and so huge. And I instantly knew that was going to be a huge, major storyline and plot point in the novel, and I'm really excited now. So I have a title, and I'm going to continue plotting. I'm going to take it chapter by chapter. This is the first time that I'm fully writing an outline. Just as I've written more manuscripts and I've gotten better as a writer and as an author, I've just realized that, outlining is really important. And I used to be a pantser, you guys. I used to 100% be a pantser, and I would just start writing, and I would write the story out of order, and I would write in scenes, and then I would just kind of try to thread them all together. But I've slowly been making my way over to the outlining section of writers, the outlining side, and I totally see the merits of outlining now, and it's my first time fully outlining a novel, so this is definitely going to be a learning experience, and I will show you guys how I outline this novel. Not in this vlog, this is just an introduction to the writing blogs I'm going to be making for the next 18 days, and then I think I'm going to try to vlog every single day of Camp NaNoWrimo. Don't hold me to that. I'm going to try my best, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, so it begins. Another thing with this particular novel is I want to try to incorporate magic realism into this novel. Now, I don't have a lot of experience with magic realism. I think I've only read a handful of novels that incorporated magic realism, and I know for a lot of people it's not their favorite because it sits in that great great gray area between reality, like realistic fiction, contemporary fiction, and fantasy. And for some people, they're like, okay, pick a side. Are you a realistic contemporary novel or are you a fantasy? Like, what is this weird gray area? But I keep getting these visions of my main female protagonist doing these things that are not realistic and almost magical, but I know this is not a fantasy and this is not a paranormal story or anything like that, so I almost feel like the magic realism is just organically coming into being in this story, and so I'm going to, try my hand with it and dabble around and play with it a little bit and see what I come up with and see what develops. Now, the voice in this novel is third person, omniscient, so it's an all-knowing voice, and this voice knows what's going on in every character's head. This voice knows things that the characters don't know, and third person omniscient is my favorite voice to write in because it's my voice. I love to be incorporated in the novel as well, and I love to tell the story, and I love to be represented, and I love to say, hey, I'm the storyteller, I'm the author, I know exactly what's going on, and I'm going to tell you this amazing story. And I would say the hardest voice, or the hardest voice for me to write in is first person, and that's definitely something I want to work on, but I feel like a lot of my stories don't organically come to me as first person stories, but yeah, magic realism, guys. We'll see what happens. Alright, 16 days until the start of Camp NaNoWrimo July session, and today was pretty slow going. I haven't done any outlining or plotting today whatsoever. I had a pretty long day at work. I worked from 11 to 7, and then I had to get home. Actually, no, 11 to 8. Wish it was 11 to 7. 11 to 8, and then I had to get home, take Teddy out, and then my brother actually is in town, and he left me with his dog for a day and a half, and his dog is a 7-month-old pit bull, so I had to take her out, feed her, walk her, do the same for my dog, and then feed myself. So it is now currently 10:28, and I'm unwinding, just watching some YouTube videos, and I've just wanted to basically talk to you all about some thoughts that I've been having that I feel like maybe some of you guys are having as well. If you didn't go to school for writing, or if you don't have any, I guess, professional training and haven't really studied writing, then we have that in common, because I haven't either. And sometimes I do get very self-conscious about that fact, the fact that I didn't go to school for it and I have no formal training in the art of writing, so to speak. And it's all just 100% natural talent, and there's no formal training involved. And one really great source that I've found is YouTube, and I go on YouTube, and so a really great source of information is YouTube. And on YouTube you can find videos about outlining, about plotting, you can find videos about almost anything. There are a lot of writers out there, a lot of who did go to school and who have had formal training, or at least who've had some experience in different writing workshops and creative writing classes, and they're sharing the knowledge that they've gotten in those classes and those courses with everyone else, especially those who are passionate about writing and who are in the middle of writing projects like, a lot of us are. So if you ever feel in doubt about how to outline or how to plot or how to get a story idea, or how to maybe you have questions about point of view, and there's so many different types of point of views. There's first person, which I feel is very popular for a lot of writers, especially new writers, and I want to say, how do I say untrained writers without sounding bad? But you know what I mean, like if you don't have any type of schooling in writing, then I feel like first person is very just commonly used. But there are other points of views, and if you want to educate yourself on anything about writing, especially about editing, I found YouTube to be a great source about editing. And not just editing for the story content, but just grammatical errors and line editing, and going through your manuscript line by line and really tightening it up. I found a lot of great stuff on YouTube to help me do that. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you all. I'm sure a lot of you all are already aware of the wealth of knowledge that can be found on YouTube. I mean, this platform is amazing. But for those of you who are ever in doubt or feel insecure about your writing and feel just uneducated on some aspects of your craft, then there definitely are a lot of videos out there on YouTube that can help you with any area of writing you could possibly imagine. You can find a video on it. And it's what I like to do when I need motivation. It's what I like to do when I need to sort of get my confidence back up in myself, is I'll just go on there and watch a whole bunch of different videos on whatever it is I feel like I'm struggling in. Lately, it's been more just coming up with a storyline. The story is so difficult. And although I have the themes that I want to write about and I have general ideas, they're still very vague, and I'm still not sure exactly what the story is going to look like and what the specific scenes are going to entail. So one writing exercise I've been doing is writing down every single type of scene I've ever wanted to write, especially for this particular novel, which is a young adult novel that takes place the summer after high school. And I've always wanted to write like a high school house party scene. That is like one thing that I think would be really fun and entertaining and exciting to write, and also really dynamic, because so much can happen at a house party with 17 and 18-year-olds present, and you know, a lot of them drinking illegally, and just like all the different personalities in one home, and like who's throwing the party, who's invited, who's not invited, are people crashing, like who's there, who's not there, where is the house party, is this in a small town, is this in a city? So I wrote that down. Another thing I've always wanted to write is I've always wanted to write a story set in a legitimately small town. Like, I feel like I've tried to write stories in small towns and it never quite comes off very authentically. And the irony is, I grew up in a town, it's not that small, I would call it a big small town. And I've always wanted to write a story that's set in a town very similar to the one that I grew up in and that I currently live in right now. So that's something else that I wrote on the list. And so that's been very helpful, just to get all of these ideas out there, pen to paper, like these are some scenes I've always wanted to write, and then I'm going to go through and see which scenes work best in the story, and, you know, which ones, you know, to save for another writing project, perhaps, in the future. Another tip I found really helpful is to write what you know, right? Start off writing what you know, and even if you're writing, like, a high fantasy or a science fiction novel or something that takes place just out of the norm, I still find it helpful to write what you know. Now, a lot of things, you know, if you have a big imagination, it's easy to make up, you know, a world because it's all coming from you. It's organically coming from your mind. You can make your world whatever you want. You can make the people look like whatever you want. You can make the language whatever you want, the landscape, the atmosphere, whatever you want. You can completely make that up. But still, the core of the story is still going to be something that resonates with everybody and that still comes across as believable, even if it is a fantasy. And that's why I think that advice, write what you know, comes in really handy, because it's write what you know best. You know what I mean? Like, if you know relationships, write that. If you know friendships, write that. If you know conflict, you know, you can really build up the conflict in your story and make it really dynamic and fleshed out and make it really take the forefront and the spotlight in the story. So I think that write what you know goes deeper than just, you know, oh, I'm just going to write a contemporary story that's basically my life, but I'm going to call it a fictional novel. I think it goes beyond that. It's like, take all your life experience, and even if you're young, you still have some life experience, but also think about what your strengths are when it comes to your writing. That also is included in write what you know, and I think that's really helpful when it comes to when you're stuck with a particular story or manuscript. Now, when it comes to outlining or plotting, if it's something you haven't done before, if you are a pantser like I used to be, there's so many great videos on YouTube about outlining and plotting, but I've also found it really helpful to just organically start doing it yourself. So come up with your own outlining process and come up with your own plotting process and see what you just do right off the bat by yourself. And then once you do that, if you get stuck, then you can reference different people's videos or reference, you know, different resources. But more than anything, I truly believe in having it organically come from your mind. So start outlining and start just basically plotting out the story on your own, using your own unique format before you go looking for someone else's format to adopt, because their format might not work for you and might not work for your story. If you guys have any questions for me below about writing and my writing process, definitely leave them in the comment section for me below. I just noticed I said that. Definitely leave the comments in comments. It's time to go to sleep. Leave the questions in the comment section and I'll catch you in my next NaNoWrimo Camp NaNoWrimo prep video. I don't know what to call these videos. Camp NaNoWrimo prep? I have no clue. I'll figure something out.
Hi you guys, it is currently June 22nd. It's a Thursday and it's about 8 days until Camp NaNoWrimo, the July session, begins. I'm here editing this writing vlog, trying to get it up as soon as possible for you guys since it just shows my Camp NaNoWrimo prep. And today's my day off, although I was planning to go into work today to complete some things, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen. It's currently 2:23 in the afternoon, and I'm still in my lazy clothes.
So as you can see, I'm still in my lazy attire, and I have my workspace set up with 2 computers, and I'm probably not going to make it to work today, honestly. So yeah, I'm going to definitely take this time to complete my outlining process. Sorry, I'm trying to like hide the computer screen glares. I don't know if it's working. There we go. I'm going to complete my outlining for this story since there are pretty much only like 7 to 8 days left before Camp NaNoWrimo starts, and I definitely want to make sure that I am 100% ready and I have my outline and I know exactly what I'm writing. And hey Teddy, you know you're not supposed to be up here. You know you're not supposed to be up here. It is currently Friday, June 23rd, and I am coming on here to end this vlog. I realized I didn't have an end to the vlog, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm still in my work attire. I just got home from work, and I'm super happy because I just had a breakthrough in my manuscript. I haven't started writing it yet, obviously, but in my plotting, I just had a breakthrough with the plot, and I think I mentioned this yesterday, but everything changed from third person omniscient to first person. I need to sit down. Hold on a second. So everything changed from third person omniscient to first person, and I finally got a part of the plot that felt like was missing, and the story, sorry, Teddy's whining, and the story just wasn't able to come together with that hole there. And what actually helped me get the plot, this part of the plot hole filled, is this amazing book right here, When Dimple Met Rishi. This book is absolutely phenomenal. I finished it in about a day or 2. I read it on my day off. Mostly yesterday I finished it, and it just really helped me. The cultural aspects of this novel really helped me to see that cultural aspects were missing in my novel. And by adding them, it just really brought a spice and a flavor to the novel and the story idea that wasn't there before. It brought an authenticity and a truth that wasn't there before. It brings with it my unique voice, and you know, I remember we were talking earlier about writing from experience and writing what you know, and once I brought my character and my worldview into the story, it just really broadened the horizons of where the story is going to go. It added so much depth to the characters. It made the characters a lot more interesting and diverse. And I feel like I'm in this weird space where as a writer, I do want to write what I know, but I almost feel like what I know, my experience is still limiting. And then I realized that my experience is so needed because so many young adult books and new adult books are whitewashed. I mean, fiction in general, popular fiction is whitewashed. And by whitewashed, I mean authors don't have a lot of diversity in their work. They don't have a lot of cultural relevance in their work. There are not a lot of different nationalities, ethnicities, cultures. Everything's just very whitewashed, and by holding back that side of me and not bringing it into my work is a disservice, not only to myself, but to the world, and to the fiction world, you know, and to the amount of just impact that I could have by just being 100% completely honest in my writing and bringing that side of me to everything that I write, and not feeling like I need to hold that back. Oh, you know, this is a new story. I always feel that initial urge to hold back that part of me, and then once something always happens and there's always a breakthrough and I just let go and the story just comes. The majority of my protagonists are Black, whether they be from the African diaspora with a family that comes from an African nation, primarily Nigeria, because that's where I'm from and that's what I have experience with, or they hail from the Caribbean, Jamaica, or Trinidad and Tobago. I also have some characters that are Afro-Latina and Latino, and I also have a few characters that are Native American, and I'm talking about all of the novels I've ever written. I do also have some Caucasian characters, but they're mostly relegated to side characters, and I also have a lot of characters of mixed race, and I feel that that's very important to represent in my work, and so that's what I do. Those are the types of characters that I write. Those are the types of characters that organically come to me, not only because of who I am and my background and my ethnicity and my race, but also because I have a passion for diversity and for writing diverse work, and so that's what I strive for. So for me to hold that side of me back from any new story I would want to write would be bad, because that is me limiting myself and stifling my unique voice. So that's why reading When Dimple Met Rishi really helped me to just bring me back to center, bring me back to my purpose, bring me back to who I am as a writer, remember my voice and what I bring to the table, and that I shouldn't try to be anyone else, and most importantly, I shouldn't try to whitewash my work in the name of wanting to write something different or outside of the box. I think that diversity, unfortunately, is outside of the box right now, and I want to make it more normal and more pervasive throughout all different genres of fiction. And so that's something that, as an author, I have sort of taken up the mantle and I'm crusading for, and I will always crusade for until it becomes the norm. I will definitely be featuring this novel in a haul soon. I have my June book haul going up, and also I will be featuring this probably in the beginning of July in my June wrap-up, so stay tuned for that if you want more detail about how I felt about this novel. But I will definitely wrap up this vlog now. It has gotten entirely too long, but I guess I will see you guys at Camp NaNoWrimo. Watch out for my videos. I will try to vlog daily. I may not post daily, but I will definitely record a little bit of each day of my writing process and how my story is coming along. Alright, well, good luck to all of you doing Camp NaNoWrimo this year, and definitely you can find me on the Camp NaNoWrimo site, and we can connect and maybe have a chat, or we can have a chat in the comments. Alright, bye. See you in my next video.
That particular novel, I have edited it twice, and I'm in the middle of a third edit, and I just grew really frustrated with that manuscript. Every time I read through it, it just seemed like something was missing, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. It was really hurtful because I